Good evening, guys. Happy Thursday. It is the last night of ZTV for the week, and tonight is another episode of Make It Alexandria with Alyssa Kovach of Alexandria Makers Market. Tonight, she welcomes Hayley of the Rainbow Icon, and Hayley creates and designs all of her own polymer clay earrings, which you might have seen around town, like Sunday at the Pride at the Garden event, and she had a booming booth. So I am excited to learn all about her cute jewelry and her design process. So I'm going to hand it over to Alyssa, and she will take it away.
Thank you, Grace. I appreciate it. Happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome to Make It Alexandria. This is just my time to get to know our makers that are right here in this city. And I hope that if you have any questions or anything catches your interest, that you'll drop a comment for us so that we know what you'd like to know from Hayley. So I'm going to bring her on. Hayley, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, welcome, welcome. Guys, Hayley owns the Rainbow Icon, and I would love if you would just kind of give a little intro to everybody and let us get to know you a little bit more, please.
Yeah, of course. So my name is Hayley. I live here in Alexandria. I'm originally from Virginia Beach. I came up for not grad school. I came for undergrad. I went to George Mason University. I played softball for 2 years. I ended up quitting softball to further pursue internships and focus on my studies. Once I graduated, I dove right into higher education. So my full-time job, I right now work for George Mason University and the School of Business. Right now I'm working from home due to COVID. And then I also work part-time for Amazon. And then I also have my side business, the Rainbow Icon. And then aside from that, a little bit about me is that I'm engaged. I'm planning to get married next year in October. And I have 2 wonderful dogs and a wonderful cat, as well as a wonderful fiance who supports me in everything that I do. And I also have just a supportive group of friends and family all over. So yeah, that's a little bit about me.
That's wonderful. Well, first of all, congratulations. I'm really, really excited for you. It sounds like you have a lot happening. And I'm really actually quite impressed that you have the time to kind of devote to each of these little areas. That's impressive.
Thank you. I think each little part of it actually keeps me sane. So it just keeps me going.
I actually really identify with that. I understand that. And it just kind of satisfies a different part of the brain a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us then about the Rainbow Icon. I mean, this is really your creative brand. And when did this start for you? And hobby, or did you just jump right into the business?
Yeah, so the Rainbow Icon actually came from, I actually started making app icon covers when the new iOS system updated. And then I started doing earrings around November. I started making them for Christmas gifts. And then I posted on my regular Instagram. I didn't even have it on the Rainbow Icon yet. And all of a sudden, like, I had several people like comment off of my story and stuff. And they were like, how can I get these? And I was like, give me one moment. And so I literally like went over to my Etsy, like I posted them like literally the next day. And then it just took off from there. And yeah, like I just started making earrings just for friends, and then it turned into all of this.
So when you started, back before the holidays, how were you getting your inspiration? Like, what was it is it some of the same designs that we can still see now, or was it something totally different?
Yeah, so my first set of earrings, they were what they look kind of like stained glass. And they basically, I just saw these 3 colors. It's kind of similar, very similar to this. I took 3 colors and I literally put them, like wrapped them around in white, and then I put them all together. I rolled it out, and then I just kept stacking them. And then I rolled it all out into like this slab and cut out cutters from it. And I still make similar ones today, just different colors. Like the ones you just saw up there were actually a pair of like my stained glass ones. And it's just grown from there. I have a whole bunch of different types of stained glass now. I have translucent ones, and then I have a whole bunch of different inspiration. But it all just started just because I like had this clay, and I was just like, I'm gonna see what I do with it, what I can do with it, and it like yeah, I just fell in love with it once I started. I just couldn't stop.
Is this something that you had maybe kind of dabbled with, at some point in the past, or just, you went to Michael's and thought, hey, this is
No,
we're doing this.
yeah, I really didn't do much. I like just saw like well, I had extra clay left over because once I got engaged, I was like, oh, I need a ring dish, and because I had this ring on my head now, and then from there, I was like, had this leftover clay, and I was like, what can I do with this? And I think honestly, it was like I was on Snapchat, and there was like a BuzzFeed thing, and like they made earrings, and I was like, I think I can make ones way better than this, and yeah, it turned into something actually better than it, to say the least.
Well, I think that I would agree. For those that happened to show up at Growing Pride, her booth was hopping the entire time. I tried to sneak away a few times, and there was always a crowd or a line. And I thought, oh boy, this is it's a very, very popular booth. So, first designs, how did you kind of continue to keep the ball rolling? What was your next step for just kind of exploring new areas?
So I had friends that would give me different ideas. They would send me pictures of things and they're like, hey, can you create this? And I would be like, yes, I can do that, but at the same time, I don't want to steal another creator's like art.
Mhm.
And so I was like, I'm gonna do it with my own twist. And so every time I would see something, I like would just try to create it in my own way. So I have different dangles now. I'm also a part of different clay groups on Facebook, clay earring groups. So I get a lot of inspiration from them too. And then that's how I learned about like different techniques with alcohol ink. And I have like, just stripes and flags and, all those different types of stuff. And so like I'll just see something and I'm like, I think I can do that. And that's basically my mentality is like, I basically feel like I see something and then I just want to make it better in like my own way.
That just looks, we're seeing some of your work. It looks incredibly detailed. And so, if you're telling me that you've only been doing this really since the holidays,
Mm-hmm.
I'm really, truly, I continue to be impressed because there's a lot of attention to detail there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it just
I,
depends. Yeah, I don't know. I see inspiration and like I see things or things will come up in my head and I just try to perfect it as much as I can. Another great thing that I love about being like, hand making things is that they're not going to be perfect. So even there is a lot of detail to it, there's a lot of imperfections. And so I just constantly try to work on them and research on different ways on how to make them perfect and like high quality. And yeah.
and so, right now, then, are you still doing some of those covers that you mentioned, or have you really kind of switched gears and focused solely on the earrings?
Yeah, I've like completely switched over. I took the covers off my Etsy, but I do still make some for my own phone and for some of my friends. But I mostly focus just on my earrings now, and try to go in different avenues within jewelry. I've gotten other people have asked about different things to make. Like this past weekend, someone asked me about making nose rings, and I've had people ask me about making regular rings and things like that. So this week actually since the market I've like looked into different things that I can start branching out into, but I think earrings are going to be like my soul like baby as I would say. Yeah.
I no, I think that's so important, to really kind of not hyper focus, but really perfect, your product range. How long, when you kind of come up with an idea, this is what I'm going to attempt to, how long
Mhm.
does it start to finish for a typical project?
So that depends on what earrings are like I'm creating. So if we're going for a simple design, just a simple color, those, like, just for the clay process itself will take like maybe 30 minutes to just roll it all out. But once I create what I would call my slab or like my earrings itself, I'll put them in the oven for about an hour. And then it just depends. Like, I have different findings. So if I have like post earrings, then I have to actually rebake those with the earring studs on the back, because I use liquid clay on the back of them. For other ones, I also have to drill holes in all of them. So it all depends. Sometimes like it takes like I would say about 2 hours from start to finish on very, very simple designs. But for complex ones, sometimes it takes up to like 3, 4, maybe 5 hours from start to finish. It also depends on like how many I make of each batch. So it ranges basically on what I'm doing and like what type of earrings it is.
Well, I think there's just a lot more than people might realize. I've watched a few of those videos of how people, for example, your stained glass that you mentioned, it is just a lot of cutting and putting back together. And, it's not as simple as this is how the clay has already come in this pre-made, design. So how do you get the colors that you work with or the designs? It seems like that's all on you.
Yeah, it's basically on me. So I start with clay, like depends on what color. So if I'm focused on like, let's say my pride flags, those are literally just red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple. But a lot of times the colors come very vibrant. And so I would have to mix like gray into it or black into it. Sometimes I have to mix white. Sometimes you have to do a little blue tint to like different colors. Whereas it comes to like my lesbian flags and my bisexual flags and things like that, those are more complex, and it's actually like more trial and error when I come with the colors, because I have literally a specific color that I have to make. And just basically trial and error. So I basically mess with clay all day. Like I'll be in my actual like full-time job, like playing with clay in a meeting. And luckily my camera's off, or I'll have it below the camera. But yeah, so then that's basically how I do the colors. Whereas like you have to really condition the clay. And then I use a pasta machine that I have here, to like make it all smooth and even out. But it also depends on which design I'm doing. So if I'm doing like the stained glass ones, you make a cane. And it's basically like this roll of clay, and you cut it up into like thinner pieces, and then you layer them all on top of each other. And then I take 2 popsicle sticks and I put them on like each side, and then I roll it out with like a baking roll, but like a plastic one. And then I'll take my earring cutters. It just depends on which ones I'm doing. Sometimes I don't even know which cutter I'm using at the time. A lot of times I just let the clay speak for itself to me. And I'm like, oh yeah, the leaf looks a lot better than the arches do, or, things like that. And then I'll just take extra clay and take it off. And then sometimes I'll even take the same colors that I just use, and I'll just roll into a ball, and then I'll flatten it out and then make a whole marbled version of it.
I really, I'm kind of trying to check out some of the items behind you, and I just really appreciate their simplistic, but in a very just pleasing way. And so, what are some of these shapes that you've kind of honed in on, or is it just things that make you happy, or are these requests that people have made?
Most of them are things that make me happy. Sometimes I'll order cutters, and my fiance will like, why did you order those cutters? No one's ever gonna buy those shapes. And I'm like, well, it's because I love them. And then she's like, well, I guess that's fair. Like, they are your creation. So I actually have a few here. So my leaves are one of my favorites. I don't know if you can see those. These are my leaves. Obviously, my rainbows are like, they have a special place in my heart. So we have a couple rainbows. And then I've also have different rainbows that like, they're not cutters. These are actually just made from just rolls of clay, that I've just combined together to make flags and little rainbows like that. And Yeah, these are like my all-time favorite. I do have some moons, like right here. These are really popular, and I just think they're so cute. I actually got smaller cutters for them because they're just so cute. And so like my leaves, my arches, and my moons, I actually have in the smaller ones. They're like kind of like these studs.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also have what I call starbursts. Let me see if I have them up here. Up here, there are some. Here we go. So these are what I call starbursts. And these, oh, I just think they're so much fun and they look so cool. So like these are my all-time favorites. I do have like some seashells. I have some hexagons. I also have like just some fun shapes that I got from other clay artists. But I would definitely say my favorite, all-time favorite ones are my arches and my leaves. Like those are like, just, I don't know, they're just so near and dear to my heart.
What would happen if, are you able to do an even larger size, or is there a delicacy that really, you shouldn't mess with it going much larger than what you have?
We can go much larger. Actually, I'm a part of a Facebook group, and it's actually for lesbian earrings. Because they're known to be wearing these outrageously large earrings, or just things that you would never think of that would be earrings. So I've looked into a couple cutters. I just haven't. I'm just nervous about them. I don't know why, but I'm just a little nervous about them. But I definitely am like waiting for one person just to be like, hey, do you have anything larger? And then I'll be like, if you give me a week, I will have something. So if anyone is interested in larger earrings, let me know. I will be happy to.
I think I might be that person. I really like those, but I also tend to like something that people can see,
Yeah.
because I have long hair as well. So I'm happy to be your trial and error. You know, we'll
Perfect. Just let me know what shape you love.
That's so fun. So something else that you showed me, and this was actually before we jumped on the air, was that you have a new product as of, I think, this week.
Yeah, so I actually just recently today created the prototype and actually will be launching it tomorrow. I started creating ear cuffs. So they basically just go hook right around your ear. And they will be in all different colors and things like that. And they just are really simple and they just hook right along. And you can move them anywhere on your ear, up or down. So if you want them, I like it here. I think this is like a perfect spot, but I know some people also like to have them like on top or things like that. So yeah, we'll be launching these tomorrow.
I think that's great. And I think that the clay is probably way more comfortable than metal, which is what I typically see the cuff made out of. I have to assume. I'm taking.
Yeah, no, polymer clay itself is very lightweight. So half the times I'm even wearing in like earrings, I forget I have them in. And I actually forgot I had this ear cuff on too, because it's just like, I don't know, it's just there. And it's just so light, you just don't even notice them. So even people who have had my long dangles, like half the time they tell me they even forget they're there, even if like they're complex design. I'm like, yeah, they're really lightweight.
That's awesome. What are some of the things that you also kind of behind the scenes that maybe we're not realizing that you are doing as a small business owner, that might not be exactly hands on in terms of making the earrings, but what are some of those things that um, other small businesses might not realize they should be doing in this startup phase?
So my biggest thing right now is gaining followers and staying active on social media, as well as I'm constantly looking for markets. So my biggest revenue is through markets. As you saw this past weekend, people love earrings. And I mean, once they see them, they're like drawn to them. So I constantly look on Facebook, and also connecting with other small businesses. So at every market, I try to talk to at least almost everyone if I can. This past weekend, I only got to talk to like 3 people, unfortunately. And then I got called back to my booth by my fiance. But yeah, I'm constantly on Facebook, event pages. I'm going to other breweries. I look at other small businesses pages and see what events they've attended. And I actually have a long spreadsheet now of like different ones that are happening. And I just constantly just keep trying to interact with people on social media. I know a big thing right now too is TikTok. There was actually some girls this past weekend. They like came up to my booth and they were like, "I saw you on TikTok," and I was like, "Awesome! I did not know that." And so, yeah, I've been trying to focus more on like creating videos and just creating content other than just the jewelry itself, and just also like working on my pictures, because that's another big thing with social media is that if it doesn't look pretty on pictures, then no one's gonna want it, you know. So that's a huge thing. It's just working on that itself, and always just getting your name out there as much as possible.
I mean, you really are doing a stunning job. And just because I also have to do similar things, it is a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
And so the fact that you have a full-time, part-time, and your own brand, you must have a lot of energy.
Yeah, just a little.
That's awesome. We do have a question. Our producer Grace would like to know, and hopefully you saw her awesome curly hair. Do your earrings get stuck in curly hair? Have you noticed?
I haven't had anyone tell me so. The biggest problem we've had is actually masks. The mask and they'll get caught in their mask. So I know my studs are a huge product right now because everyone doesn't want dangly earrings with their mask on. But I haven't had any problems with hair or anything like that.
Got it. So what do you think would be kind of your next step? Hopefully we'll start to see you at some more markets, but what are some of your other plans for the summer and leading into the fall?
So my biggest thing right now is we actually just became an LLC. We got our LLC license, like the thing yesterday, and we're next working on our business license. And hopefully that will be completed very soon. Our biggest thing is working on our rest of our summer collection, our fall collection, and then especially getting ready for Christmas. I've already had some people ask about what Halloween ones I will be working on. If there's any Christmas ones I'll be working on. And also I've had a couple people ask about different markets that I'll be attending. So right now we are scheduled for actually your market for the one in November for the Christmas one. And then this July, on July 11th, we'll be going to Dirt Farm Brewery, and we have a market out there. So you'll be able to grab a beer, go shopping, and enjoy some beautiful views. And then we're also just going to be looking for a couple more markets. Excuse me?
Oh, sorry. Dirt Farm is amazing. I love that venue. So that's going to be super fun.
Yeah, it's so gorgeous out there. I love it out there. And then we're contacting a couple other breweries. I think Twin Panzee Brewery will have one that we'll probably attend soon. So our biggest thing is just start working on our fall collection, especially, and then our Halloween collection, and then also like our Christmas ones, and then just getting ready for the holidays. And I know a lot of people have already like expressed interest in having them as gifts. We've had a lot of people buy earrings as gifts all the time, like Mother's Day. A lot of people bought a lot of earrings for Mother's Day, and things like that. And also, we do have clip-on earrings, but we're trying to look into other routes within the clip-on world because the ones that we have, I think they're great, but I want to have better quality. So I want to experiment more within the clip-on world of earrings too. So
that's awesome. That's amazing. What are some of the ways that if somebody, I don't know, a lot of our viewers sometimes are interested in personalized or very specific kind of projects, work in collaboration with the maker. Are you ever open to that kind of situation?
We are always open to that. So we always take custom orders. We have actually been talking to other vendors And we're trying to do like mystery boxes, or we're trying to create themed giveaways or things like that. But we do custom orders as well. So actually this past weekend, we have had 4 different people ask us about different personalized earrings, as well as like their own custom ones. So anytime anyone is ever interested in that, they can always shoot us a DM on Instagram. They can also message us on our Etsy page. Or they can also email us. So basically any social media, you can just message us, and then we can always go from there.
That's super cool. And my mind is already like, ooh, okay, I definitely need some custom earrings.
Oh, yes.
And in addition to Etsy, which is where they can find you, where are some of the other, like, if somebody needs to get a hold of the rainbow icon, what are some of your handles and things like that so that people have that easily for them?
So you can find us on Facebook at the Rainbow Icon, LLC. You can find us on Twitter. We're at the Rainbow Icon. Same thing for Instagram at the Rainbow Icon. Or you can email us, and it's therainbowicon@gmail.com.
That's awesome that those were all available.
Yep. We're always on social media. We're always ready.
Excuse me. So you guys, Hayley, she did mention that it will be at another Alexandria Makers Market event, which is coming up in November. Plenty of time for us to chat about that. But I really, really hope that you will go and first of all, follow her on whatever platform you feel is, kind of your best medium, and go check out her Etsy store and get a hold of her for some custom. I'm going to go and we're going to chat about some larger and you guys, please just go and follow the Rainbow Icon and make sure that you know when she's going to be around town so you can scoop up some great gifts for everybody on your list. These are great. Thank you so much for joining us, Hayley. I'm really, really glad to get to know you a little bit better tonight, and I can't wait to continue to work together in our future events.
Yes, of course. Thank you so much for having us, especially this past weekend. We had so much fun, and I can't wait to continue further.
Yeah, thank you so much. You guys, Hayley is just the best, so I hope that you will go and check that out right now. One little event that I do want to mention and promo is that we have partnered with Lost Boy Cider. And if you guys remember, we had Tristan on the show not that long ago, just a few weeks ago. We're super excited to partner with them, and we are going to have a market Christmas in July. Speaking of, we mentioned Christmas this evening, but we're going to have Christmas in July at Lost Boy Cider. It's going to be Friday the 23rd through Sunday the 25th. And you might see some different vendors each day, and there will be some that will be there the whole weekend. So as soon as we get that exact schedule pared down, we will be publishing that. And so that way you make sure you come, as Hayley mentioned, grab a cider, cup of cheer, and do some shopping. So thank you all for being here with us tonight. Make sure you go check out Hayley. Thank you to Grace for producing. Come back next week. On Monday, we have Steve Hauk, Living on Music, and he always has an amazing show. So you definitely don't want to miss that. And there's a great ZTV lineup all next week at 7, so be back here. And in the meantime, I'm going to encourage you to shop local, make it Alexandria whenever possible, and go be the good news in someone's life.